What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. We continue with our 2023 predictions. The Arizona Wildcats are up next. Let's take a look at some of the other predictions for Arizona. The FBI has them at 5.5 and 6.5. Athlon has them at 6 and 6. The over/under is pretty low on this team, 4.5 or 5. I feel pretty good about taking the over there, especially on the 4.5. I think this team, they were 5 and 7 last year, and I think they should be improved this year. You look at the roster; they're going to have a really explosive offense, a lot of weapons on that side of the ball. Pretty strong offensive line. Defense doesn't look great. They're average at best there, and that's probably where they're going to struggle, and what could ultimately keep them from getting to a bowl game or having a good season. But yeah, I think this team has a chance to possibly get to that 6 and 6, just like Athlon is saying, and get to a bowl game. It seemed like the last couple of years they've been on the rise, and maybe this is that year they break through and get to 6 and 6. You look at the schedule, it's tough. You're gonna have to play those tough teams in the Pac-12: Washington, USC, Oregon State, UCLA, Utah. They play all of them except Oregon. So at least you get a break there. No Oregon, and they also play an SEC team on the road in the non-conference. So it is a pretty tough schedule here. I think they take care of business against Northern Arizona and UTEP. And then there's that game against Mississippi State on the road. Like I said, that's September 9th, so probably going to be hot and humid down there, which, of course, they're used to the heat in Arizona, but it's a little bit different in the Southeast. And I think that this is honestly, it's a tough one to predict because we don't know for sure what we're going to get out of Mississippi State without Mike Leach. What's the offense going to look like? They've got still a decent amount of talent and experience, returning production coming back for them. So this, I think, still is going to be a good Mississippi State team. So I think the fact that they play this game on the road, I just don't see Arizona winning this game. If it was at home, maybe they could pull it off. But I think they lose to Mississippi State, beat Northern Arizona and UTEP, and they get off to a 2-1 start. They'll play Stanford next on the road September 23rd. I've said many times I think this is going to be the worst team in the Pac-12. I think Arizona rolls here. I think they get a win on the road without too much trouble. Not a blowout, but I think they'll win it by at least a couple of scores. And then you get Washington on September the 30th, and the problem here is going to be the defense for Arizona. Washington's going to score more than likely a lot of points in this game. I expect them to, probably 50 points in this game, and I just don't know if Arizona's going to be able to keep up. If they're going to have a chance to win and pull off this upset, they're going to have to win a shootout. They're going to have to score a lot of points themselves, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that. And then it's really the same story against USC. I expect USC and Washington are going to have two of the best offenses in the country, maybe top 5 for both of them, and they're both going to be really good on offense, and I don't think that bodes well for Arizona with a defense that I think may struggle. So I think you get the same thing here with USC, just not able to outscore them, and I think they lose both of those games. So 3-3. Then you get Washington State on the road October the 14th. Should be a good one. I think these two teams are pretty even, but I think Arizona just a little bit more explosive on the offensive side, and I think that's going to be enough for them to come through in the fourth quarter and get a big win. I think it's close, one-score game, but I've got Arizona going on the road and winning that one. And then they'll play Oregon State. They get a bye week before this game, so perhaps they could pull off a big upset here. You talk about the physicality of this Oregon State team. They're going to want to run the football, and they're going to want to keep that Arizona offense on the sidelines. And you wonder, is that strategy going to work, or Arizona be able to come up with some stops, make a lot of explosive plays on offense, and beat this Oregon State defense? This is a tough one for me. I really went back and forth on this game, but I just think that run game for Oregon State, their defense, it's going to be enough. I think Oregon State gets this win, but I think it'll be close. Then you get UCLA on November the 4th at home again. And I think they win one of these two games. I think between Oregon State and UCLA, they get one of them. I think they're due for a big win this year, and I just don't see it coming against Washington or USC. So that leaves Oregon State, UCLA, or maybe even Utah. But I think UCLA's the game. I think they get this win at home. Going to be a good UCLA team. I think UCLA is going to be better than Arizona. But upsets happen. Arizona's at home, and I just think they play really well in this game, coming off of a loss. They knock off UCLA. Then they play Colorado the next week, November 11th. after a huge win, maybe they have a letdown. They got to go on the road against a Colorado team that's going to probably get better as the season goes with all the new faces. They're, I think, going to be a much better team in November than in September. And so I think Colorado pulls off the upset here. So I've got Arizona losing that game. Then they get Utah on the 18th at home. I think Utah kind of follows the same formula as Oregon State. And I think this Utah team is even better than Oregon State. So even at home, I just don't see Arizona winning this one. I think Utah's defense and their run game, their physicality, it's too much for Arizona. So then you get to the final game against Arizona State with a shot to get to a bowl game. Can they go on the road and win this game? I really feel like this Arizona State team is being underrated because they've added a lot of transfers. They're going to be pretty good. I don't think they're going to be awful, but I think Arizona is going to be just a little bit better with their offense, even on the road, rivalry game. I think Arizona gets a win. I think they beat Arizona State. They finished 6-6, enough to get to a bowl game, and so that's what I'm predicting for Arizona. Like I said, between Oregon State and UCLA, I think they pull off a big win there in one of those two games. They could lose to Washington State or Arizona State, though, and drop to 5-7. I think 5-7 is probably more likely than 7-5. But then you also look at Colorado. That's a game they could possibly win. So I think 6-6 is where this team is going to be. Would love to get your thoughts on Arizona, your predictions. Let me know what you think about the Wildcats down in the comments below.